All right, welcome. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most confusing topics in all of health, cholesterol. You know, that one number your doctor gives you that can be so hard to understand. We're going to cut right through all the noise and give you a super simple way to finally get what's really happening inside your body. Let's dive in.
Okay, so you get your lab results back, you scan down the page, and you see that number. Maybe it's 200, maybe 210. And what's the first question that pops into your head? Is that good? Is that bad? It feels like it should be a simple yes or no, right? Well, the real answer is way more interesting than that.
And here's the thing. This quote from cardiologist Dr. Riaz Sirajuddin, it just nails it. That one single number, the one we all get so hung up on, it doesn't really mean much on its own. So if that big number isn't the main character of this story, then what is? Well, to understand that, we need a better way of looking at the whole system.
So I want you to imagine something with me. Picture your cardiovascular system as a huge, bustling city. This simple analogy, this picture in your head, is going to be our guide through everything. It's the key that's going to make all these confusing terms finally click.
Okay, so that total cholesterol number, that 200 we were talking about, in our analogy, that's just the total population of our city. And seriously, think about it for a second. If I tell you New York City has millions of people, does that tell you anything about its crime rate? No way. A huge city could be way safer than a tiny town. The population size, by itself, tells you almost nothing.
Exactly. The real story isn't about how many people live in the city. It's about who these people are. It's about the character of the citizens. You know, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? And that brings us to the real drama, the main event. The cops versus the robbers living inside your city. These are the players that really truly determine your risk. So on one side, you've got the bad guys. This is your LDL cholesterol. Just think of them as the vandals, the troublemakers. They run around dropping off cholesterol in your arteries, kind of like leaving junk all over the streets that clogs everything up. But then you have the good guys. That's your HDL cholesterol. These are the city's police force. They're on patrol, cleaning up the mess that the bad guys leave behind and keeping the streets safe. So, you see, the real question isn't about the total population. It's all about the balance of power. It's about the ratio. Do you have enough cops on the street to handle the number of robbers? A city with a huge police force can handle a lot more trouble than a small town with just one sheriff. That ratio is absolutely everything. And this is what smart doctors have been looking at for decades as a much, much better way to predict risk. They take this city's total population, your total cholesterol, and they divide it by the size of your police force, your HDL. A low number is great. It means you've got plenty of cops for the job. But hang on, we're not done just yet. There's one more piece to this puzzle. See, it's not just about the number of cops and robbers. We also have to measure the general vibe of the city. Is it a calm, peaceful place, or is there a constant tension bubbling just under the surface? We can actually measure that tension. It's a marker called C-reactive protein, or CRP. Just think of it as the city's commotion level. When your CRP is high, it means your body's inflamed. The city's on edge. And that kind of environment makes it way easier for the bad guys to cause a really big problem, like a heart attack. So let's put it all together. The safest city, the lowest risk profile, has a really simple formula. Very few bad guys, so low LDL. A really strong police force, so high HDL, and a calm, quiet atmosphere, which means low commotion or low CRP. High risk is, you guessed it, the exact opposite. A city just overrun with criminals, not nearly enough cops, and constant tension in the streets. All right, so now we get it. We know what a dangerous city looks like. The million-dollar question is, how do we fix it? If your city's crime report looks bad, how do you clean up the streets? And probably the most logical first thought is, hey, let's just hire more cops. Let's find a way to raise our HDL, the good cholesterol. I mean, that seems like the most obvious solution, doesn't it? Yeah, it seems obvious. But here's the catch. It turns out that it is incredibly difficult to recruit good guys. Medically speaking, we just don't have very effective tools to significantly raise a person's HDL levels. Let's just look at the mouth for a second. A drug might boast that it increases HDL by 20%. Sounds pretty good. But if your HDL is only 30 to begin with, a 20% increase is just 6 points. You go from 30 to 36. And unfortunately, that's just not enough of a change to make your city meaningfully safer. So if hiring more cops is pretty much off the table, what's plan B? Well, you go after the criminals directly. The single most effective strategy we have by far is to aggressively lower your LDL cholesterol. You eliminate the bad guys.
And this is where the most common cholesterol medications, statins, are just brilliant. They are so effective because they hit the problem with a powerful double whammy.
Here's what they do. First, they are fantastic at getting rid of the bad guys by lowering your LDL. But, and this is the incredible second benefit, they also calm the city down. They lower that CRP, the commotion. So with one medication, you get fewer criminals and a less tense, less inflamed environment. It's a true win-win.
And the science just keeps getting better. We now have even more powerful tools, like a class of drugs called PCSK9 inhibitors. Dr. Sirajuddin actually describes these as a jackhammer. They don't just arrest the bad guys, they practically remove them from the equation, driving LDL down to incredibly low levels and slashing risk even more.
So let's bring it all the way back to the start. That single number, 200, forget about it. That's just your city's population sign. To really understand your health, you have to stop looking at that and start asking the right questions. How many robbers are roaming your streets? How big is your police force? And how much commotion is there day to day? That is your city's real crime report.